everybody. So I thought I would take you on a little ride along today to some thrift stores in my area, and we are just going to look for flatware. Now obviously, don't get me wrong, when I'm at a thrift store I'm going to look at everything else as well, but like I mentioned in my last Flatware Friday video, I tend to get anxious when I hear people digging in the flatware before I've gotten to it. It's terrible. Anyway, and so I was like, all right, I'm gonna do a day where when I get to the thrift stores, I'm gonna go straight there. And kind of the point of this too is to show you what I'm dealing with. Like, I could go this whole day, hit 5 thrift stores or more, and not really come home with any flatware. So we're gonna see if there's anything out there today that's worth taking home to flip, right? So if you're looking at thrift stores and you're not finding much of anything, like, don't worry, that it happens to all of us. It's possible there's something today. So flatware can be very hit or miss when you're looking for it specifically to flip. So anyway, I hope you have fun coming along with me. I'll kind of show you what I'm working with, and we'll see if we find anything good. Okay, we're at our first stop. Now this is a thrift store I don't go to, or I've just recently started going to it, kind of discovered it. It's a long story, but anyway, it looks pretty quiet, which is kind of cool because it's usually pretty busy. And what they usually do with their flatware, I've noticed, because I've only been to it a couple times, is that if they have sets of flatware, they sell them as sets, like wrapped up, shrink wrapped in a flatware tray. And so far, and then it's like $50 or $40 or whatever for the whole set. So far there hasn't been any like sets in there. Those other 2 times that totally tempted me. Because sometimes you can buy a set for $40 and then break it up into selling just the forks or just the whatever, and you can still make a pretty good profit. It's actually a nice way to buy flatware. Anywho, but they do have some loose ones or some like smaller bundles, and so let's see if there's anything there today. Okay guys, so I didn't really expect to hit pay dirt right away, but we're off to a good start. And you probably saw in the video I got the set like I told you that they do, and it's Twin Star. It's Oneida Twin Star that we've talked about. It's 39 pieces, and it was $30, but I got up to the register and she looked at it and she's like, how about 15? So I'm like, okay. So you kind of got to love some of those independent thrift stores where their pricing is kind of flexible based on the person, right? Okay, so there's a few serving pieces in it, some teaspoons, bunch of forks, stuff like that. So kind of basic stuff, but total bread and butter, and those should sell pretty quickly. Okay, on to the next one. It's a little bit of a drive to the next one, and I'm gonna go to my furthest out ones. I spent a little too long in there because I hadn't been there in a while, and so I will have to go a little faster in the next ones if I'm gonna hit multiple stores today and still do all the things that I need to also get done. So hopefully I can thrift a little faster, but I did pick up some other goodies there too. So I will see you at the next one. Okay, I lied. I'm at Goodwill. I just realized I'm passing right by Goodwill, and I'm not sure that I'll come back this way again. So I was just here not that long ago. Flatware here is generally in baggies. And so I'm gonna see, there weren't many baggies the other day. I don't know if there was any, actually, mostly utensils. So I'm just gonna see if there's anything here today, maybe just take a quick scope around, and then I'll be on my way. Okay, so these were the bags that I did end up getting. I know one's utensils, but I just wanted to share with you. At first I had seen these, and the line is Temptations. I think they're just salad servers. I wasn't really sure about that, but then I flipped it over and saw these wood-handled ones, and those are marked, might be hard to see, but they are marked WMF Cromargan. So couple serving, nope, it's a salad set, I think, so that's kind of cool. I think I've sold that before. And then as far as flatware, I was trying to show it in the video. There really wasn't much in here. Where is it? Here's a really funky looking fork, and I was trying to look at the style of it, and it turns out it's Eastern Airlines. Okay, so I was like, oh, it's Eastern Airlines, it's you know, flatware, airline flatware, which we've talked about on the channel, but I'm like, do I want to pay $4 for one fork? So I'm like looking around, and finally I see this slotted spoon, and it's for Pier 1. And I'm like, all right, there's at least 2 pieces in here I think I can do okay with, and so I went ahead and bit the bullet on that. You guys might decide to do something different. Totally okay. I kind of get caught up in the thrill of finding airline flatware, so it's hard for me to pass it up, but I didn't want to pay $4 for it because I don't even know what it's worth, but I'm glad I found something else to go with it. And who am I kidding? I don't know. I'm gonna just go into Goodwill and just flip around. I was here the other day. Well, of course, it figures they have totally put out a bunch of new stuff. And then I ran into a friend, fellow resellers, and I got chatting. So yeah, my day is going a lot slower, but it just totally figures when I want to be focused on one thing. There's like so much other stuff at the thrift store I need to look at. So anywho, so much to complain about, right? I am now going to go on to that thrift store that's a little further away, and hopefully we can blast through those a little bit quicker.
Oh, okay. That'll work. I'll bring the bag back in.
That's all good. Put some of your stuff in it that you want to donate, and
That's what we do.
yeah, that's what I do. Get them from, and it's awesome because you recycle.
Make another round. Make another round.
Okay, so I forgot to do an intro going into that last place, but as you can see, that one was a situation where they just kind of put everything in open bins, and then you pay per piece. So they usually are pretty good about having them like forks, spoons, knives. As you saw, I slid out that Twin Star knife. I just happened to spot it on the handle. And then the other pieces I got were, I didn't get all of them that were there. I got like 4 dinner forks, 4 salad forks, 4 teaspoons. But the pattern is called, it's marked right on it. Mardi Gras is the name of the pattern, and it's by Washington Forge. I've sold it before. It's just plastic handled. I don't think I've ever sold white or have come across white before, and so I just did a quick look, and yeah, it's just bread and butter kind of stuff that'll sell. I have a few like larger sets that I've sold before, like all in one big lot, but I think I'll do better just kind of breaking it up and just trying to move it in smaller little pieces. So, and then I showed you one thing to always check too is like if your thrift store has a display case or a you know, where they put their stuff they think is fancy. Anyway, there was a bag of spoons in there. I thought it was going to be a price for the whole bag, but they were individually. I did pick up some grapefruit spoons that are silver plated. Grapefruit spoons I tend to do pretty well with, and then just some other like random pieces of flatware. Just silver plate. We're going to talk about silver plate in another video, but when I see a bag of spoons, I have to look at it. Okay, now we are going to go for another little drive, maybe stop and get some coffee, and then see what else we find. We're actually finding flatware today, which is kind of cool. Anyway. Okay, so I keep forgetting to do my introduction right before I go into the thrift stores because I think I just park and I'm like, let's go. Anyway, I was just going to show you, so that thrift store, I knew I was going to be in trouble. And I actually didn't do too bad. I was just thinking because the whole store is half off today. And I'm not usually here in this part of town for that half off sale that they do every week, and so I was like, oh, I'm really gonna want to look at everything, but it's like super busy. It's kind of picked over, you know, it's afternoon by now, and so I just kind of looked at some stuff. I looked through my usuals, my ties and my belts, and you know, everything probably like around the edges of the store, some shoes a little bit. That thrift store, even though it's kind of higher priced, we're in kind of a, there's good brands in there because we're in kind of the swankier part of town. But they do pretty good with pricing their shoes in there. It's usually a pretty reasonable, and then half off is great, but I didn't see anything there. But let me just show you real quick. I showed you on the floor. I had to dig through that cardboard box. Let me show you like in more detail what it was that I found that I showed you on the floor. Okay, so I think you saw in the cardboard box this little, looks like a sugar spoon to me. I grabbed that one, and then this was in there as well. And yes, they are both marked sterling. Yay! They were $1 a piece, even with the half off. Even though they were all banging around in that box together, it was a new cashier, and she was like, oh, these are fancier, so I'm gonna, you know, they would normally be $2 a piece, but today they're $1 a piece. I'm like, all right, fine. I think that might be their kind of standard pricing anyway, but a lot of thrift stores will put their silver plate or their silver like separate when they do that. But anywho, okay, so then I found these awesome round bowl soup spoons, and they're dirty. You kind of have to be a little bit of a strong stomach. I've seen some gross stuff today, but anyway, they are marked SCC, stainless steel, and that's Stanley. Hold on. Okay, so I started to say Stanley, but that's not right. It's SCC is Supreme Cutlery Company, which is under the, like, Toll is the parent maker, if that makes sense. And so anyway, I just did a quick search because I knew like Stanley Roberts goes under another company, and so I had that in my head as one of those names, but it's not. SCC is Supreme Cutlery Company. The pattern is called Stereo, so we'll take a look at what those are worth, or I'll pop up a comp right here. And then it seems like I can't go to a thrift store without finding one piece of Twin Star. This is the solid handle. The last thrift store I got the hollow handle dinner knife, and this one is the solid handle one. And then I just picked up this big serving piece, very glossy, and it is by Mikasa, as you can kind of see there. Okay, so all right, let's run on to the next one. There's one just around the corner. Okay, I can tell I'm getting hungry and I'm getting tired. Thrifting is not for the weak. Anyway, I flew through that store, and I got a couple of good things. And honestly, I was thinking about the stuff I'm finding today, other stuff I picked up that's not flatware, and I think I'm going to do a separate video on that because I just found some fun stuff that I want to share with you. But all I picked up there, I thought it was going to be my first bust of the day. But I picked up some knives, and they are WMF. Now, what's interesting is that's where I picked up the WMF last week, some of it, and these are marked Japan, and the pattern is like completely different than the ones I picked up last week. So I don't know what pattern this is, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 knives. You know, I don't know, she charged me $1 for them, so we'll make some money. All right, I'm gonna go in search of caffeine and food. And you want to hear something crazy? As well, I'm out here hunting for flatware. I sold some flatware. I got the cha-ching on my eBay app, and I sold the Yamazaki Old Denmark 4 dinner forks. They're on sale right now for 10% off, and so they sold for $44. Yay for flatware. Okay, hold on. Okay, and the crazy part about that flatware sale is that that was the thrift store. I mean, I wasn't actually in the thrift store, but I was almost in the same thrift store where I found the Yamazaki last week. I think they sold while I was in the thrift store before that thrift store. Does that make sense? Anyway, they sold pretty quickly, and I was almost in the same thrift store where I found them when it happened. Okay, so I have about 3, maybe 4, but the 4th one I'm not too excited about. They never usually have that much flatware. I have like 3 thrift stores I could still hit that are kind of close together in town here, and they're all kind of, one's like our clearance store, so that's hit or miss for flatware. But anyway, I am just going to try to do those really quick, and then I have to get to the grocery store and go home and feed my fam and put a video together for you guys. So I have something to share on Flatware Friday. Okay, see if I find anything more. Okay, so I'm glad I stopped there. I really wasn't sure that they would have any flatware, but last time we were there, Mr. Pish Posh handed me, I think it's a spoon in this pattern. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And let's see, it's Helmick. There might be some connection to ginkgo biloba, I'm not sure. But anyway, so the spoon by itself was like, oh yeah, okay, it might sell. But it's so cool to like go back and there's a couple more pieces of it. So I can probably put all 3 together. Most of what else I picked up are just vintage iced tea spoons. So some of them match, some of them don't. So I have a plan for that. Here's just one little piece of silver plate. I think this is, yeah, Holmes and Edwards. The pattern's like Danish something. I forget what the pattern name is, but anyway, I know it's a popular pattern, so I grabbed it. And something atomic for an atomic. I either have, what is this? No clue, just Japan, but I either have something or it'll just go in an atomic mix lot, like I've said. Okay, so 2 more stops, I think. Okay, so as you can see, the clearance store is closed today, so that saves me that little bit of time. Okay, so this may be the last one of the day, and this is the one where I have to walk through like the whole store to get to the flatware. But then if I don't go straight to flatware, I hear people digging in it and it makes me anxious. No, that didn't happen at all today. And I've actually found so much good flatware today that I'm okay with it, whatever happens. This store is also half off everything, so I probably will take a quick gander around most of the store and I will report back. Okay, I did it. That was the last thrift store. And this isn't maybe all of it, but I did get a little handful. They are 5 for $1 at that thrift store, but this is a style of flatware that I usually pick. Well, I don't always pick it up because I have a lot of it. But anyway, I wanted to show it to you guys. So it's 3-prong. It's like this style. It's very colonial looking. And different makers, there's different makers for it. The first few pieces I picked up, I got mostly forks. The first few were by Rogers. Then the rest are marked Leonard silver, and they basically like all look the same. Like they're kind of interchangeable. So not like sometimes you have to differentiate, especially on the Rogers. They made them at different times, and there's different back stamps that you kind of have to make sure you share when you're listing them so that people know that they're getting what matches. So I did do a quick search for Leonard stainless flatware, and I forgot the name of the pattern, but it came up, and there's sales in it. So this is the type of flatware that goes with the pistol grip knives, and they did have some knives there. I didn't pick up any because I have some I need to be listing, and so I'm afraid I'll just end up with too many. And a lot of times the pistol grip, they end up getting very like pitted on the blade. I don't know why, but I just see that a lot. So some of those were like that. I just didn't, I think because it's the end of the day, I didn't feel like picking through and making sure they were perfect. And there weren't any spoons in the pattern, so it wasn't like I had to make a set or anything. So anyway, we'll see how these do. Okay. I will, when I get home later, I will probably spread out everything that I got today that's flatware related. And we will take a look at maybe like how much I spent and then how much I think I can make on that. So let me see if that's something that I can do tonight. Okay, so here it is. Here's the spoils of the day. I added it up roughly what I spent on everything, and it's about 50 bucks. So I don't know that I could give like a number with, you know, a lot of these pieces will take a little bit more in-depth research, but then also sometimes I look at Etsy or eBay comps, but something like this might end up selling on Etsy for a little bit more. So things are kind of rough. And then there's some pieces where I might list them with other things. And so it's kind of hard to give a value to that. But if we just kind of take a few little things and look at, like my Oneida stainless twin star, it says there's 39 pieces. I paid 15. Now if I just do a rough, like say I do $5 a piece on that, you know, the knives might be a little bit less than that. Well, maybe even if we did $4 a piece average for everything, like if we round it 40 pieces by $4, 160 bucks just in this tray, right? Okay, so this pattern I didn't look up yet. It's Oneida, and I paid $3. They're like 3 serving pieces. Just, it looks familiar. I have a feeling I sold something in it before. Here's a confession that I shop too quickly sometimes. This is a little T-ball spoon, and it's supposed to have a latch, like it's supposed to stay closed. So that was me getting too excited about stuff. So it happens. So that's a loss. Some long teaspoons. I haven't looked these. They're Rogers. I haven't looked those up yet, but iced teaspoons in general are pretty good. So we've got our WMF, the dinner knives, but then also these. There's quite a few listed on eBay, but I haven't sold the salad set before. What I did remember is that the same handled pieces, we had like a cheese serving set, and we sold that for 3 pieces for $40 on Etsy. Now what's exciting is my little sterling pieces. I found the pattern. It's by Toll. It's called Rustic, and it's from like the late 1800s. Isn't that so exciting? And when it's gold in here like that, they call it a gold wash. So I had to go into Terapeak to find some solds. People are asking really high prices for this pierced olive serving spoon. But in the solds, if you go what actually sold in the past 3 years, we're looking more like $35 to $40, okay? Which I'll take that. The olive spoon is not monogrammed, but this one is. The sugar spoon, it does have a monogram on it. It might affect it a little bit, but they do not have, it's a little dented as well. There is no sugar spoon available on replacements.com right now, I think. So it's hard to, I don't really have a estimated price on that one. Round bowl soup spoons. These are just popular all the time. Anyway, I still have to check comps on that one. That's Mikasa. And then the Pier 1, it does, according to Replacements, it doesn't have a name. If you remember, these 2 were in a bag together at Goodwill, and the 2 that there might be one other vintage serving spoon I can get some profit out of as well. But then isn't that fork awesome? It's Eastern Airlines. It's got the Eastern Airlines logo on the front, and then it says Eastern on the back, and then I think International Stainless or something like that. Maybe like $10 for that one is what I'll shoot for. And then here's that last stop that I made. Besides all this colonial looking, it's flatware. It's called Old Rockport. And you'll find, because it's like a colonial style, a lot of the names of those patterns sound very colonial, and they sound very New England and everything like that. So in there, I also threw in this fork by Lenox, and it is I believe it's Butterfly Meadow. I've sold it in the past. I don't know what that's worth. I'm not sure, but there's the Crusade, and I do think Helmick is somehow connected to Ginkgo. I think they show up together on replacements.com. I will put it with the spoon I already have and probably just put all 3 pieces together and do like $20 on that. And then same, the white isn't super common. They need some cleaning up, but say, 4 forks for $25, $20, something like that. We've got the loose twin star knives I told you about already. And then what I probably did worse on as far as like return on investment is the silver plate. And I don't know, I was looking at it as I was paying because it was in the case. And I thought it was the whole bag, but it was actually, I think I said this, it was priced individually. And so I was like, what do I do? And so I just went ahead and got these grapefruit spoons. They're serrated. I've either sold them before or I have more. And then this, I think I've sold before. It's called Orange Blossom is the pattern. And even though they're not serrated, you can see how pointy the bowls are. And those are fruit spoons as well. They're like, they don't sell for a ton. And so I really think it's a good idea to stick with stainless. I'm not saying there's not good silver plate patterns, but that might be kind of the angle that our silver plate video goes with, like what silver plate should you bother, shooting for? And we'll talk about that in the future video. So all in all, I don't think it was a bad day. So honestly, guys, when I started this video, like I said, first thing this morning, I really thought my day would not go that well as far as flatware, because I don't always have good days like that. But the thrift stores were actually full of a lot of stuff. I don't know if it's just like, because garage sale season's pretty much over, so maybe the people who thought they were going to have a garage sale said, you know what, forget it. We're not going to do it this year. And they just ended up, bringing a bunch of stuff to the thrift store. But for some reason, there was just a lot of new, fresh stuff at the thrift store. So that included flatware. And so even though some of those stores I've been in the last week, or at least a week ago, there was some new stuff to look at. So anyway, I do recognize the fact that you won't find great flatware every time you go out. I certainly don't. And I also find less of it here than I did when I lived in Washington. And, it's more sparsely populated of an area. So that has a lot to do with it too. Anyway, I will just I just wanted to say thank you to all the loyal Flatware Friday viewers. I do appreciate you looking forward to Flatware Friday. It's awesome. And also keep an eye out on my what sold videos. I'm going to really work on getting my flatware listed, and you'll see them in future videos. We'll see how they sold and how well they do. Okay, everybody take care, and we'll see you soon.